Hello and welcome to Let's Play Legend of Dragoon. This is the first Let's Play that I've done, and so I just want to start off with kind of my sales pitch of why you should watch this series with me, which is quite simply that I'm going to be doing things a little differently than most other people who do Let's Plays. I'm not going to, be doing, 100% run, finding every secret. But what I am going to do is, go through the game, go through, the story, go through, how it affects, me and, you know, what it does right, what it does wrong, what, you know, it the tools it uses, look at the tropes, look at the cliches, see, what constitutes this, what constitutes a story in general, what makes a video game different than other storytelling mediums such as a novel or a film or, you know, anything like that. What is art? My definition of art is rather broad and grand scale. And so, does this game, fit in that definition of art? Do video games fit into a definition of art? That is definitely one of the questions that I'm going to be looking at as I play this game. And so, if you want, kind of a thinking man's, let's play of a classic PS1 era JRPG, this is going to be the Let's Play for you. If you just want to see more gameplay things of a first-person shooter blowing things up, so there's other things, on YouTube. But, what I'm going to be doing is, taking a look and, thinking hard and deep about, this gem of a classic of the PS1, end of the PS1 era. Be there's a lot of historical context, with it, where it, rested in history and when it came out, and, as opposed to, the current, era. I'm recording this in May 2014, and, we've recently kind of had a JRPG, Dark Age, and could theoretically be coming out of it based on a few things that, I've been hearing. So, for me, taking a look back and looking at, some of the classics that, made me love the genre, is definitely, something key. And unfortunately, just because of technical limitations, the PS1 era has kind of gone into this weird zone of vintage as opposed to what the PS2 era is getting, which is kind of a reboot and redone for the HD generation. Things like, God of War has a, big collection out, HDizing them, Final Fantasy X and X-2 and Tales of Symphonia have all gotten, HD re-releases, whereas, the PS1 games, unfortunately, are not getting, that treatment, rightly or wrongly. They are, they're downloadable. I mean, this game, you can absolutely get on the PSN, right now. I'm not sure, how, if it, you know, is, any different, because I still have my original PS1 discs that I'm playing and are quite happy with. But, because in my opinion, this game holds up extremely well. The only thing that detracts from it is, the graphics, which, they have extremely well done backgrounds, extremely well done environments, but unfortunately the character is, the character models are a little, still polygon and still have, some issues with, jagging of the diagonals of, whatnot. So, I mean, if you, can get past that and enjoy a game for its story, for its, you know, gameplay, this is absolutely the game for you. Um, if not, I'm sorry, but you're really missing out, in my opinion. And so so let's get down to it. One of the first things to look at is this intro, which we have a very good cinematic. We see the town destroyed, Shannon kidnapped. Then we meet Dart and Ro. We meet a mysterious dark person on a cliff face. That's Rose. Then we meet Dart, our hero, who can read a newspaper. He's reading a newspaper. He's well read. He camps quite nicely out in the wilderness. He knows how to survive. He's not a horrible threat to nature. Nature doesn't have to attack him by his very basis. And then you see him get attacked by soldiers, and he's willing to face down two cavalrymen on mounted monster back, whatever those things are that they're riding, and he doesn't flinch. So right there off the bat, we are introduced to a character who is very unique, very strong, and whether you can identify with him or not, he is a person. And personally, one of the things that I like about this game is that it starts with the beginning, with Dart, with Dart's journey, which I could see how some people would try to say that it starts in Marez, which is Latin for in the middle, which Final Fantasy games do a lot with their RPGs, with lightning already on the train and being attacked, or Cloud starting off in the middle of the terrorist attack in Final Fantasy VII. But this one, to me, starts at the beginning, which is Shannon gets kidnapped. That's what's calling Dart to action. If you want to look at it as a Joseph Campbellian monomyth, this is we identify our adventurer. He has a call to action, which is Shannon's been kidnapped, and so he has to cross the threshold, which is going into the deep dark prison, which then gets various trials and tribulations as he's pulled into the war, and finds out about dragoons, and things start to spiral outwards. So it's a very good way of slowly drawing the character into the arcs of the story, and by extension pulling us in. It. While I know certain feminists on YouTube, would chide that story as being a another damsel in distress trope of and want to criticize it on that front, I personally don't really become bothered by it, because honestly there are few story prompts that can let you get in and start identifying and access and have a quick call to action like that. And while it is a bit overused, when used correctly, such as this, of there's not really a lot of ways to reach Dart, because he is so removed. He has spent years traveling the entire world. He even got to the smaller countries, such as Rogue, during his time, and met kung fu masters and such, so that he has he is not just a functionary of this village, which was just destroyed, which also, effectively, starts things off. You know that the Empire, is evil in the, south of the Sourdough, or as I like to call it, the Sourdough region. But, that's just me. So you see immediately off the bat, there's raping and pillaging and plundering and kidnapping and hostages, and, and in the video, in the opening cinematics, you see that, there is something different about Shannon. She, glows in correspondence to this little orb thing that, resembles their moon, which, I know it's a simple thing but just the difference of, their moon to our moon, it immediately puts us in a different world. I mean, it's very similar to, how Star Wars had, Luke looking at 3 suns for Tatooine, and so, while things are similar, it is still an alien world that he's on. And, this game, I mean, it starts off, a little fast because it does throw a little bit of, kind of a lot of things at you, but at the same time, it also, allows you to breathe and understand and, know that, Dart is being called to this action. He is fully choosing his path. He's not being, railroaded into it, if you want the meta game term for it. He's not, being tricked into it by the bad guy. Nothing like that. It is, honestly, after, all these years and so many different, people trying to, kind of overthink the intro, of just having a hero, willingly choose to be heroic and, move forward is kind of different and kind of refreshing. And so, that's one of the very first things that, replaying it, having that flood of nostalgia and emotion and memories come up of that this game is different than even, a lot of things in its own genre. And it's different in a good way. And so I, personally like it. And so if, you're willing to indulge me, I'm going to be, taking a look at that and, analyzing it and, probably overthinking it, but, that's just going to be me. So if you, like that idea, absolutely subscribe to my channel. And so, I mean, even little things, I'm sorry, I should probably stop the video, but, just, Shannon being thrown in prison, and, and if you think I want to give this game nothing but praise, here is, something that I am going to criticize it for, which is this warden here is just such a stereotypical evil empire, warlord, that in a game full of so many human characters, so much, humanity and understandableness and subtlety, the idea that this cliche is running around, killing his henchmen just cause, that is something that, doesn't really fit with the game, in my opinion. But, we'll look at that more next time, because he is our first boss. And so, thank you, and join me next time as I kick his ass.